and Kullam Kulala.
Okay, what's the
Okay,
question?
now, while we are talking about freedom of expression, I mean, this freedom of expression also means freedom to tell lies. Because here, right here, and during 50 Frames, on the first day, in the inaugural session, when Mr. Aamir Khan was here, and NDTV's Sonia Singh was interviewing him, and she asked a question, and it was, I feel it was deliberately asked question about CBFC regime. CBFC, present day CBFC. How is it? Central Board of Film Certification. A lot of filmmakers didn't know that it's Central Board of Film Certification and not Censor Board of Film Certification. So this was explained to him, to the filmmakers who went and met Rajyavardhan Singh Rathore. Now, so this question about CBFC was asked by Sonia Singh, and Aamir said that he had a very good interaction with Rajyavardhan Singh Rathore, and the minister informed him that there was nothing like proscribed words. We are not doing that. And it is not censor board, it's film certification board. It was a very nice, positive response he gave. Now look at how the media presented it next day, or at the same time, Aamir Khan blasts CBFC. That never happened. We were there in a normal session. We had seen all that. Big news is scandal. It says Aamir Khan blasts CBFC.
Okay, so your point
Deccan
is...
Chronicle says Aamir Khan blasts CBFC. NDTV says Aamir Khan blasts CBFC.
Okay, we've got the point.
It's lying, pure lying.
Okay.
Firstly, you don't have to yell. I'm right here. You had a mic. I can hear you.
No. Do you have Sorbitrate? I hope you keep Sorbitrate handy.
Secondly, I would not say that you're lying, because that's not how we at NDTV do it. I would say it's your opinion that the question is deliberate, and that's what it is. Because we don't ask questions that are plugged or planted. And last but not the least, I can't speak for all of media. I'm here as the managing editor of NDTV, and that's who I will speak for. We did not put out anything that wasn't there. The clip, the exact clip. You see, in any case on video, it's very difficult to lie unless you edit it deliberately. If you go back, and I'm saying that to you again, if you go back and it's out there, because once you put something out on television nowadays, it goes onto the web and it's there for all eternity. If you actually see the clip, we played the entire thing, and it goes back to my point that it's for the audience to decide. It's for the audience to decide how they are going to take what Aamir said. We did not say he blasts.
Still there on
Then,
please check.
yeah, sure, it may be on another website, but then you need to,
Okay,
it needs to
let's
go, you
try
have
not
to go
get
and check
into a
that
snapping match
website.
about Ramesh, do you want to comment on this?
Yes, if the word blasts has been used, there was no such thing, because I was present at the meeting.
Okay, so we've got an issue about headlines here, but the body of the story...
No, I think the point he's trying to make is there was a discussion, it's true, points were put across from both sides, it's true, but no such thing as blast. That starts the whole different, gives it a whole different color, and it makes the whole industry look around and say, what exactly are we up to? And how come, the film industry will think, Aamir Khan did the right thing, and some people from there will feel that we have a fighter and savior for us. But that didn't happen. It's exactly what was said. He gave a very reassuring feeling that it will continue as a certification board, and we even discussed moving towards self-censorship. He says, I can't promise you that, but with time we can probably move towards that, we can discuss it and move towards the kind of regime that was as close to that as possible.
Okay.
Anyway, the good news is tomorrow those newspapers will say I praise Pailaj Nehelani's supreme intellect.
Okay. Gentlemen in that shirt there.
Yeah. Good afternoon to all of you. This is Vijay Shankar. I've been into journalism for more than 30 years, and I'm also an artist. Well, as far as the ethics of journalism is concerned, There are so many things all of you know which you're supposed to do and not do. So could you comment on that? Anybody?
Anyone? Who would like to take that? Can you just summarise that question?
No, the good thing is if you don't understand the question, you can answer it better in India. So just answer any question.
It is quite difficult for us to hear the full back.
The question was as concerning the ethics of journalism. So what we are supposed to do and not do. Just for an example, I would give you that when you are the editor or the publisher, you're not supposed to write about people who are related to you, who are very close to you. So I would like to get your comments in
Okay,
this
so we're
regard.
talking about conflict of interest, I think, here. And,
Yes, thank you.
Yes, who'd like to take this first?
I think it's a very healthy thing, yeah. And you're talking about ethics. We are the only country where we look at a minister and say, he's an honest minister. You're supposed to be honest. What you're supposed to be worried about is the joker competent. So my recommendation would be, please don't tar everyone with the same brush. I think there are many, many ethical people in the world of journalism, many selfless journalists, many, many valiant editors who are fighting for their colleagues. But there are bad eggs as well, and that's par for the course. I don't think we're having a massive ethical crisis in India yet. It's there in Parliament, but it's certainly not in our newspapers.
Okay, Matthew, you want to go?
Isn't it true that parliaments also all over the world are turning into, not just here or there are a lot of parliaments I've seen going, as you say, unparliamentary language has become the language of parliament.
And quite a few fisticuffs as well in some cases. I wanted to sort of throw open a question, because something that a journalist said to me yesterday which pricked my interest, because we were talking about Russia Today, and of course not that long ago there was a journalist who resigned from Russia Today, complaining about misinformation that the station was putting out, Sarah Firth, after the Malaysian Airlines flight came down over eastern Ukraine. She was complaining about it being the last straw, that they were suggesting that immediately it was the Ukrainians who were to blame. Now, I was watching Russia Today not that long ago, and it was the day that John Kerry had made a statement to Congress saying that the Americans needed to spend more money to counter the message from Russia Today. And I was then watching Russia Today that evening, and the news anchor started the session by saying, this is what John Kerry had said today. And then she turned to a separate camera and said, let me tell you something, John Kerry. And then spoke for maybe 5-7 minutes in an extraordinary, just opinionated way. Now,
Was that a news bulletin rather than a...
Yes, it was a news bulletin. And I was sort of talking about this yesterday with a journalist over lunch. And actually she said something that surprised me, which was she likes that sort of journalism that is totally slanted, even to the extent of it being a plant or Moscow being behind it, or Fox having a totally different slant or so. She said to me, I actually like that because I can see that that's an opinion, and then I can make my choice between those opinions as to what I think. And I thought that was quite interesting.
But, I think there's got to be space for that. I don't think news can be opinion, and that is actually my problem with a lot of channels around the world, or that the edit page is becoming the front page, so to speak. You have to give the news first. You have to tell the story. You have to give the truth.
And you have to signpost the different...
Yes, and sure, there is space for opinion.
Yeah.
There always was, there always will be. But there's a separate space for that. And again, that has to be clearly marked.
Yes. Well, I was stunned, you see, at her response saying this is what I actually like.
So, to me, there cannot be a merging of the two. It's got to be in its own. And sort of just coming back to our point, taking from what Sahir said about ethics and journalists. Listen, like everywhere, journalists are going to make mistakes. There are some times that there's going to be news that we thought was right and true, and it's going to be put out, and maybe, 2 hours later, 3 days later, we're going to realize, guess what, it was wrong. The idea is, I think as journalists, you come back you put out the right thing, you apologize, you move on. Again, it's about trust, it's about the truth. You make that apology, you say, guess what, we were wrong, but this is why it happened, and you move on.
Because trust takes an awful long time to build.
To build,
and
and
it
seconds,
goes overnight.
yeah.
Yeah. This is-
But isn't there another aspect to this grabbing eyeballs? So you skewer the news in a way that you capture maximum attention.
But it's
Ultimately, the truth will be there somewhere in the story, but the first thing, as something that blasts, you start with a kind of a note that holds your attention. Now, has it become the duty of editors, and whether it's journalists or the electronic media or whatever, whether you're giving news or grab the news? First,
That's always
grab
been the case.
the audience.
It's always been.
There's a difference between what you're saying in terms of those sort of rivalry and engagement. Because every newspaper or television channel,
But sometimes
it
they
is
go
all about
overboard. They
engagement.
go overboard because of that. What I'm trying to say is that's what's behind it, but some of them don't know where to draw the line again.
I think there's a difference